The show is about to start with lots of stories about poo and a bit of heart. When it comes to Joanne, no, you won't find no faults. But if you mess with the ball, you might get the show. It's time for Mornin. It's Morning with Bill and Joe. It's time for Mornin. It's gonna be a heck of a show. It's Bill and Joe.
Good morning and welcome to Mornin' with Bill and Joe. I'm Joe. Nice.
Oh, that's the whole thing about being the Black Lotus. I'm the opposite of nice. Although, come to think of it, is anything good about the White Lotus?
Yeah.
Seems like lots of bad things happen there.
So I have not watched the most recent episode.
I bring it up only because I assumed that you had, and right up until we just pushed play, I was catching up. I got about 15 minutes left. But
yeah, what was I doing last night? Oh, I was out with some girlfriends, so I didn't get a chance to watch. But man, that's from 2 weeks ago, the Sam Rockwell appearance and monologue. So good.
Oh man, that has got to be either a cinematic or broadcast record for how many times one guy talks about getting quote unquote railed in the ass in one monologue. I mean, that phrase is used way more than once.
Yes. I don't want to.
I love how angelic your yes was. Yes,
I don't want to spoil anything really, but Sam Rockwell is sort of a supplemental character, if you will, that shows up and delivers probably more lines than all three of those women combined. But is a really great look into the type of men who move to Thailand.
I mean, it's actually trafficking a bit in stereotypes, this show.
Yeah.
As far as, the type of, if you were to look up this sort of person, where Bangkok's got him now, it would be a lot of the people in this show. What's one of the lines they say? Oh, I'm butchering it, but it's along the lines of a guy goes to Thailand if he's running from something, or, I don't know. Or wants to fuck a lady boy. How about that? I think that was the quote. Yeah.
I don't think that was the quote, but
semantics.
But I did see there's been criticisms about this season. One of them I saw being that nothing's like really happening.
I don't know if I like it.
It's a whole lot of setup for not much payoff.
I was hoping you could help me decide whether or not I like it.
Yeah.
I'm still watching, so there's that.
Totally.
But it's I don't know.
There's a lot of what feels like close encounters, like, something bad is about. No.
Right.
Oh, wait, something. And I guess it will all pay off potentially in the last episode of this season. But I do think that Sam Rockwell appearance really at least made me reinvested.
There's been some talk online that, what is his name? Mike White?
Yes.
That there is sort of a big picture to all, which we've already started to sort of see, but like even in a bigger picture than the thing that sort of ties all three episodes together. And so you could make a case for the fact that Sam Rockwell will perhaps play a bigger role as this progresses. But my theory is this. Leslie Bibb was there for 6 months filming this thing, and she told Mike White, hey, my boyfriend Sam Rockwell's coming to visit, and he said, hey, let's do a scene for him. And that's it.
Wow. I do love that. Yeah, I saw on her social media, she said, finally, everyone knows if Sam came to Thailand with me. She was like, everyone would ask, and like I didn't want to reveal anything. But yeah, he did come visit.
But it seems as if he was visiting the local culture a lot more than he was visiting her, at least as far as his gaping asshole is concerned.
Well, that's a character, Bill. Remember, they're two different people.
That's right. Oh, he's such a good actor. I believed it hook, line, and sinker.
But gosh, speaking of good TV, I don't know if you're a Severance person.
I got a million of these that I'm supposed to see. Everyone I know loves it. But yes, you have been watching.
Yeah, and they just had their season 2 finale. Now, I think I shared this on the podcast over a year ago, but I auditioned for a part in season 2.
I forgot about that. Yes.
And I still don't know entirely what I was auditioning for,
Sounds
if
about
they
right.
changed it, if they cut it. But what it was described to me as, this audition was wild, a shadowy figure. So I was supposed to, they were looking for a woman 5'6", about my weight. I'm assuming it was to be the body double for either Heliar or Gemma, the wife. But they wanted people with like movement or mime experience. And they wanted to see me going through some typical office motions, but then to do it again in sort of a more dance-like modern type performance.
Kill to see this tape.
And I don't know what they were trying to do or what it morphed into. There was an episode this season where they did have body lookalikes. It was a scene where they're like outside. And then in this last episode, they did have sort of like character-y, just a quick shot. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but like a quick sort of character mask kind of characters. So, but I don't know.
That's probably what it was. Now,
Maybe.
Joe, as you know, I'm not a journalist, but rather a great journalist, a journalist. And it would be betraying both my trade and my overall philosophy if I did not ask you to give us all a taste of your dance office moves.
Oh, well, I can't do that. I'm seated with headphones in.
I think that you can, because a lot of the office work is sitting, oftentimes with headphones in.
Oh, but you know what, Bill? We are no longer just a visual medium. And so for all 4 of our listeners, I would feel really bad if they didn't get to experience.
I've considered this roadblock, and I don't come to you with problems. I come to you with solutions. I will describe what you are doing as you do it for those that are only listening.
No, you know what? I think we give too much away, Bill. I really do.
I don't think we
So how
do.
about this?
I
If
don't
we
think we
get
do.
5,000 more subscribers, then we shall do this fun game.
Well, I don't necessarily know fun's the word. Alarming, eerie, other things come to mind. But, well, that's very disappointing. And for those of you just listening, I am rolling my eyes right now.
Well, listen,
You clearly don't appreciate your craft.
speaking of train wrecks, another great show I'm watching. It's not about a train wreck, but it is about emergency situations.
Okay.
Have you heard of The Pit?
Yeah, I have seen advertisements for it. Yes, it's another hospital thing.
Yes. However, I read a headline that said essentially trauma and like ER workers say it is the most lifelike and realistic depiction of what it is to work in an emergency room trauma center that there is out there. And it's done in a way sort of like, I guess, the show 24, except every episode is an hour. So the actual episode time is an hour long.
Got it.
And you are seeing an hour in the ER. You are seeing 7 to 8 a.m. Then you're seeing 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Oh.
And you see.
And it's all one day.
Yes. Like the season is one day. And each episode is 1 hour. So meanwhile, I'm like, how cool for some of these guest star roles who think, oh, they're just going in, they're playing a patient with abdominal pain, but they're there for 3 hours, which means 3 episodes, you know? But it's really great. There is a lot of blood. There's one scene where a man who is high on drugs whips out his penis and pisses all over everything. So, I mean, they really make it as lifelike as possible.
You're not selling this.
A lot of moments where I'm like, I don't know if I should be eating my yogurt while watching this. But yeah, so if you've been thinking about watching it, I do recommend.
Oh boy, I just,
watching The
again,
Pit.
I've told you a million times, in my old age, I've become my mom, where more and more, White Lotus included, I'm finding that I only like to watch nice things.
Yeah.
Because everything else is horrible.
But let me tell you, it makes you feel better about your own life, where let's say you have a job. We don't, but let's say you do. If you're listening and your job is stressing you out, you watch this and you go, oh, my job is not life or death. This actually is. And so I feel a little better about my situation.
The catharsis, I see it. And I do have moments of that as well. Yeah, I like watching people that have it worse than me. And many do, of course. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, I always go back to the fact that, oh, this is not really happening to them. And aren't they getting a great paycheck for what they are doing right now?
Yeah.
So then I can never really get that immersed in it where I don't think that. See, and now you're thinking that, and you're feeling worse.
God,
and my job here is done.
I just want money.
So do I. I mean, my favorite philosopher, I don't want to get too highbrow here, is, of course, Burt Reynolds. And he has once said that he has been miserable and poor and miserable and rich, and the latter is preferable.
Yeah.
And I just do really feel that money would solve really all of my problems.
Yeah. I made a list of things I would like to buy once I have money. Do you want to hear some of it?
Please.
All right.
You already have a bidet. What else could you possibly want?
A pedicure.
Sorry, I asked.
New running sneakers. I'm due.
I need some.
But I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't have like foot pain yet. Yes. So maybe I should hold off.
I'm right there with you.
A purse. Right now I hold everything in a Ziploc bag.
I hope that's true.
New glasses. A lot of these things are really just sounding like necessities that I'm putting off purchasing.
I don't necessarily know if the people at that ER show have it worse than you, just from hearing this.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well, you know what? Thankfully, knock on wood, I do not have outrageous medical bills. So
yes, that whole cliche of at least you have your health is something that I find to be very much that.
Yeah.
As much as I keep trying to destroy mine.
Speaking of, I see you are back at Casa Schultz.
For depression, yes.
How was the time at your parents'? Was it a hard transition back?
I got back this morning, early bus. I didn't even, unfortunately, get to see my folks. I got back at around 2 a.m, and were still asleep when I left. And yeah, it's horrible to be back. I much prefer. What we call an assisted living area. It's an area for older professionals. I very much fit in there, apart from the professional thing.
Yeah, and, the old or professional.
Well, old, yes. But yeah, no, it's terribly bad. But especially with this weather, it is very cold, very windy, and very rainy. Much like my soul right now.
Speaking of
joyful things,
slaying the game. That's a good segue.
I was about to walk out.
You pitched this story. We began covering this groundbreaking cultural piece of art, the new Snow White, years ago.
Oh, yes. I am just, of course, fascinated by
we'll glaze over it, but just to put all of our hard-hitting coverage to completion. Snow White finally came out. No surprise that it's not doing as well as they had hoped.
Well, they're not really having the actresses promote it. They have not animatronic, I guess CGI, and I guess they're not called dwarves, Joe, don't you know? But rather sort of magical human-like creatures. Don't quote me on that particular term.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the term. I don't see it.
And there is so many layers to this absolute. Talk about a train wreck. This is that.
There's been a lot of controversy associated with the film. Rachel Zegler, who's playing Snow White, not white. So a lot of people were really upset about that. To me, less so. I'm more offended when they cast someone who can't sing. Like, at least this girl has a beautiful voice and looks beautiful, like Snow White.
I agree. Yeah.
Peter Dinklage came out back in 2022 criticizing Disney for remaking it, saying that they want to be progressive in one way by casting Rachel Zegler as Snow White, and you're making that backwards story about 7 dwarves living in a cave.
Yes.
But then we've talked about the fact that, well, then they didn't hire people with dwarfism, or they didn't hire little people to play the dwarfs. So then that becomes an issue because you're taking jobs away.
Not the first time Dinklage has done this. There used to be a subplot on Life is Short starring one Warwick Davis, who has played everything from Wicket the Ewok in the Return of the Jedi to Willow. It was sort of a Lord of the Rings knockoff, and he was kind of like a hobbit. He's played a lot of little people roles, and one of the things is he's sort of an agent for little people in the show, but instead of getting them jobs, he'll get whatever they're looking for first and then take that job. Dinklage is a little bit like this, where he is just destroying job opportunities for little people left and right, and I have to assume 99.9% of acting little people fucking hate his guts.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's this noble warrior fighting for the rights of the tiny.
There's also controversy due to politics. So I don't know when exactly this happened, but Rachel Zegler had shared, I guess, the trailer to the film and then added, "And always remember, free Palestine."
Yes, apropos of nothing. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's some free Palestine undertones in the original Snow White, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, it's like hidden Mickeys. They're there.
Yes.
You just got to look for them. So now Gal Gadot, is that how we say her name? Have I been saying it wrong?
I have seen recently that you do pronounce the T.
Gadot.
Yeah.
Anyways, she is Israeli, and apparently there is a rift between these two actresses.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Then in November, Rachel Zegler went on Instagram to sound off about the presidential election, and she criticized Trump and those who voted for him. Her management team tried to spring into action. She then responded by saying, "I let my emotions get the best of me. I'm sorry I contributed to the negative discourse. It was too little, too late." But it's a lot that, Bill, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I think Disney, is now at the point where they want people to be so upset with the controversy, and they want people commenting and criticizing because that's just press for them. And at this point, this film needs as many eyes on it as possible to recoup some of what they put in.
I think there is such thing as bad press, though. I don't necessarily go with the alternative cliche on that one, where all press is good press. And in this case, you almost want to feel bad for Disney, a sentence that rarely comes out of my mouth, but what in the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah.
The hubris. First of all, yeah, I get it. It's an easy cash cow to take the Disney vault and turn it from cartoon into real people and then just do a shot-for-shot remake. Totally get it. I'm a capitalist. More power to you. There's a million things in the Disney vault that are far less problematic than goddamn Snow White. But the hubris, the thinking that they can do no wrong, that came with just unnecessarily lighting this powder keg. I mean, they have so many other options besides Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which, let's face it, is it all that interesting a story to begin with? I guess Hi-Ho is a fun song, but really, there are so many other options. There is so many other Disney animated movies. They should blame nobody but themselves. And, the article that I sent you, it touches on the fact that Disney was sort of in this position where they feel as if they actually sat down the Zegler girl and said, "Please shut the fuck up. We just want you to promote the movie, that it would only make it worse." It's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's the overall, and apparently I haven't looked at the latest box office, but shockingly, it's been disappointing. The reviews have been bad. They initially, when we were still on our Compound Media platform, they had initially leaked this photo of these normal size. Oh, I shouldn't say normal. These differently sized people that were an array of races. No problem with that. That were 7 of them. And they're like, oh my God, not only have they not hired little people, but look at this woke take on the dwarves. And I think what they did, their quick fix was they have turned them into what is apparently 7 bandits in the movie. And then they quickly came up with these CGI dwarves and that these guys are just the 7 bandits. So they're still in there because God forbid they go and do press about how they were axed because people were upset online or whatever. It is just such a shit show. And it's hilarious, but it's just, yeah.
Can you, in 30 seconds, remind me what the story of Snow White is about? Is she the one who eats the apple? Or is that Sleeping Beauty?
She eats the apple. It is poisoned when the Gal Gadot character, who is a queen and a witch and has a mirror that she says, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of the mall. And in this case, Snow White was born on a snowy day. And that's how we explain away not the skin color, but rather why she is called Snow White. And so from what I remember, Snow White is either a daughter of some sort of princess daughter or something like that. And then she is ordered killed because this queen is not doing enough self-care and should focus on her inner beauty. She escapes from being killed and falls in with these little people. Another, by the way, criticism in the movie is that the animatronic little people now refer to Snow White and others as human. So I guess they are not human. I don't know what they are. That sounds offensive to me.
Yeah.
But so she falls in with them. They live together for a little bit. That's weird. And then these dwarfs work at a diamond mine. Why they are all living under one roof with all these diamonds beyond me. And then she is killed when she eats this apple. A prince comes, kisses her, and she is then woken. I would also say that there is no prince anymore. In this case, this guy is a bandit. But yeah, a lot of changes, Joe. A lot of changes.
Yeah. If you're going to modernize it, really do it. You know, Snow White should get her own podcast. She should become an influencer. She should be sponsored by Diamond Co. You know,
I'm loath to give you credit, but you do have that gigantic-eyed, more cartoon than human look about you, and you really could have, I think, nailed the Snow White
I'm
role.
so pale.
You're so pale.
But here, I would hope that this would actually be a good lesson for Disney in the sense that maybe let's not just keep using these celebrities. What you should do is use actors who have not had a ton of exposure, put them as the leads in your films, because guess what? They're going to be so fucking grateful. They are going to be like, I will say and do whatever you want. I am your animatronic puppet, okay? So please,
I want that on your tombstone.
Cast me. I'll do a great job. And you won't have the headache of having a celebrity doing press and mucking it all up for you.
Oh, man. I mean, you're not wrong. Disney has largely managed to avoid many of the critiques that they are facing now as far as the anti-DEI sentiment in these United States. Are they united, Joe? But when they remade The Little Mermaid with a black actress in the role, defenders were plentiful. But last month when Disney released Captain America Brave New World with a black actor, what is wrong with our country, in the title role for the first time, the company had a harder time defending that move. Like, not an entirely new phenomenon. Think of the male internet uproar over the all-female Ghostbusters from 2016, or the ongoing fan vitriol around Disney's efforts to bring diversity to the Star Wars franchise. How is that even something that would bother people? But the anti-woke right has grown more powerful since then. Based on ticket pre-sales and surveys of moviegoer interest, Snow White is expected to collect 45 to 50 million at domestic theaters over the weekend. According to box office analysts, that would be a slow start for a Disney live action. And considering all of the extra shooting, the writing and the rewriting, all of it, this thing's like, what, 150 million, I think they put into this, is putting it like, I think a lot more than that. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, we
haven't learned anything. We're all just dumber for talking about this.
I recently read a thing. Now, this is, a Disney motion picture, but I read something recently about all the streamers, and most of them are losing millions and millions of dollars a quarter. I think Apple being the worst of them all. Yeah. I think Disney just recently turned a profit on their streamers, Netflix as well. However, Apple, as a company, their streamer is such a small portion of their business that they can afford to lose that kind of money. So it almost gets to a point where it's like, okay, you see these big corporations, you're thinking every move they make is to potentially make the most money possible. But if they don't have to, then why are they making these decisions?
It's a good question. And also the other thing too is I think that Apple has gotten so many rave reviews for a lot of their original programming, but I guess no one's watching it, or they're just spending too much money on programming. That it's
Perhaps.
still not a good economic model. I don't know. I wake up every day hating everything more.
You know what I didn't hate? If you do want to go to the movies and see something,
Sure.
Soderbergh's film Black Bag
I've heard good things.
was very good.
Wait a second. This is the one with the spy couple?
Yes.
Been done before. Mr. and Mrs.
Yes.
Smith comes to mind.
Yes.
True Lies comes to mind.
But this is different. This is not action-based. This is definitely more suspense-driven, which I love. It looks beautiful, beautifully shot. The storytelling is great. There were certainly moments where I was like, we could have had more of a twist, or like we could have had a little bit more of a something, but altogether just like a solid film. It's just a solid, enjoyable movie that's not too long. It keeps your attention. And then you go get a margarita and you're like, that was a nice night.
The two of them in it is what's his name? Oh gosh, he's done so many movies where he's like a spy or a killer for hire. What's his
I know,
name?
I
He was
forget
in
his name.
Inglourious
Hold on.
Bastards.
Yes.
And the X-Men movies and all that. And then you've got Cate Blanchett, correct?
Yes.
Now, see, those are an interesting example, and there's a lot of people like this in Hollywood for me, where I can appreciate the fact that they are both attractive-looking people. I see, but to me, they are mannequin-looking in their attractiveness, and at least via the trailer, I saw no chemistry between the two of them. And I think for someone soulless like yourself, I picture you watching that just because you want to wear everything she's wearing.
Oh my God. That is exactly the
Yes. Yeah.
That is the first thing I said to Douglas. I was like, God, I'm adding to my wish list. Outfits that Cate Blanchett wears.
I have known you for quite some time.
Yeah. Michael Fassbender is the actor who plays her husband.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan is also in the film. For those who have seen Bridgerton, Regé-Jean Page.
No clue.
I guess he's like one of the hot guys from Bridgerton. I'm watching this film. I'm like, where have I seen this guy from? And then it came to me. But yeah, I liked it. I also learned how to falsify or have them not know you're lying on a lie detector.
I've been told the pin.
It's not the pin.
In the shoe? Oh, okay. What is it?
It is squeezing your sphincter.
I can right now. I am a success. And see, it looks like I'm saying it true because I'm squeezing my butthole.
No, and that's the thing. I then was like, Douglas, I don't think I can do it without moving or making a face. And I was like, am I doing it now? And like, you could totally see me doing it.
Well, that's why you're not a spy.
I know. I got to work on that.
Yeah. And by the way, you know who wouldn't be able to do it? See, I'm bringing it all back. Sam Rockwell's character. And
Sure.
Per his Thailand history, there is no sphincter left to squeeze, which means he would be screwed on a lie detector test.
Oh boy! Hey, speaking of sex, Khloe Kardashian.
Oh yes, I thought you would have some thoughts on the March 20th episode. Oh, it was so good, Joe. I hope you saw it. Episode of the Kardashians. Khloe Kardashian, mom of two, got real, y'all, about her sex life. Or lack thereof, as she joked around with hairstylist Chris Appleton. He's always the hairstylist, Joe.
Sure.
In a conversation with him and her sister Kim Kardashian, the hairstylist teased, let's get Khloe laid, during their trip to Tuscany for an Andrea Bocelli concert. Quote, you're obsessed with knowing that I haven't had sex, Khloe, 40, told Chris, before saying to Kim, he loves that I haven't had sex in so many years. In a confessional, she admitted, I just haven't been intimate in quite a long time. So we're going back to square one, joking that she's essentially a born-again virgin. I'll marry my bed. I know I'm coming home to that bed every night. Get out of my head, Khloe. In the premiere episode, she said, I quote, pray when asked if she would get back on the horse, so to speak, adding, "I would hope so." Quote, "It can't be over for me yet," she said in the confessional. "I feel like so much great stuff is coming right now, whether it's in business or how I feel about myself. My next chapter is I want to find a forever partner." Do you? Why? And then to do that, I want to shed everything that's not serving me, not for me as a person. She's also been open about how being a mom has held her back because her kids, True 6 and Tatum 2, are, quote, her top priority when she's not in a confessional talking about how she's a born-again virgin. I added that part. So much so that she doesn't really care about dating. Joe, thoughts?
Okay, at first I was like, oh wow, that's been a while. But then I saw her most recent child is only 2 years old. There are plenty of women who are married moms who have not had sex, most likely in 2 years.
I know some of them. Yes.
So I don't actually think it's that strange, especially because, it's like either you're in a relationship not having sex or you're not in a relationship not having sex.
Yes.
Either way, if you want it, figure it out, I guess. But I feel maybe a little bad for her only because when you're at that level of celebrity, that has to be tough. You're even more vulnerable, I think, because you have more at stake, I guess.
NDAs. N
Yeah.
to the D to the A. Although I guess that didn't really
so.
work out for Diddy. But yes, okay, so there is this scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin. And he's taking this girl to a sort of clinic type place where kids of her age ask questions about sex if they are thinking about possibly having sex. And at one point he asks, because he does not know a lot, the guidance counselor, "Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?" And she replies, "Is this a real question?" And then subsequently, the daughter finds out that he is indeed a 40-year-old virgin.
Mhm.
I never found that scene funny at all because I think that can be the case for guys. But I am wondering for women what happens after a drought. I'm wondering if that is at all applicable to women.
I don't know so much of if you use it, you lose it, but I think you maybe lack some confidence. I think
What about
that
drive? Does the drive go away if there's a big drought?
I don't think so. They often say for women that the older you get, so I'm assuming for Khloe's age, she's now in her 40s. I think they say once you're heading toward menopause, you just get hornier. So,
I like that.
I hope Khloe finds her partner before then.
Yeah.
But I think in general for the couples, married couples who have kids, they're just so tired
Oh, yeah.
that there isn't much drive. Yeah, I don't know, but I can't speak for the lame people because I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
cool.
Or maybe it's just you are your own kid and the fact that you're a lady baby.
I do exhaust myself.
Oh, God.
Sometimes I hear myself talk. I'm like, ooh, I need a nap.
I don't pray often, but when I do, I sometimes give a quick prayer for Douglas for that reason. He really is the real hero.
I used to watch the Kardashians
I don't
all
think
the
I've ever
time.
seen an entire episode. I've
All
seen
the
bits and
time.
pieces.
As soon as they moved to, I think it was Hulu, I stopped watching.
Mm.
Or I think it was like as soon as Kylie got pregnant. I was like, oh, they've been doing this for way too long.
The vocal fry
Yeah.
kills me. I just can't do it. I don't know how America tolerates it. It's for me, it is nails on a chalkboard, listening to them talk.
Yeah.
But my theory that I believe to be true, at the beginning of the show, they have the credits and they have all the Kardashians through the years, and it's very gauzy. It's very sepia tone, blurry. And the reason that they did this is because of the early footage. They don't want to show you how much plastic surgery they had. If you look back at the earlier stuff, you're like, oh, that looks like a completely different person. I mean, look at a picture of Kim Kardashian shortly after the sex tape came out. It is an entirely different, and I say better looking person, at least more real, than the person that we see today. I mean, it's almost Michael Jackson level. And so that they've got this giant blurry dreamlike gauze on the opener of the Kardashian show to hide the fact that there's just been some big changes. Big changes.
Yeah. And I wonder too if for the people who create the show, because at this point, I'm sure most of the Kardashians have like executive producer credits.
Oh, sure.
Which means they get to see final things and give their consent or whatever. So, gosh, it must suck to then have to, you're the editor on this show and you have to show it to 6 Kardashians and have everyone approve. Like, could you imagine how frustrating that must be?
You know what? I was about to say you couldn't pay me enough, but now that I think about it, particularly during tax season, you could pay.
Yeah.
I do have a level of quality where you can deal with every single one of the Kardashians.
I feel like they've teased it a little bit, but I don't know if it's true, you know, with Khloe's first husband, Lamar.
Yes.
I mean, they went through it. What was he? Was he in Reno when he OD'd or something? He was
if I recall,
hospitalized.
Did he not get like severe brain damage? I've heard him in interviews relatively recently. He sounds okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he OD'd, he really did a number on himself. Yeah.
They weren't sure like to what extent he would either survive or come back from it.
Sure.
But I think he has since done, was it after this, Dancing with the Stars? Seems to be doing better. And I think they might have been teasing like a reconciliation or like, ooh, will him and Khloe get back together? I think he's expressed the fact that he still loves her.
Of course. What else has he got going on?
But gosh, if I were Khloe, right, there's something that feels so weird about this person that you invested so much time and energy into, and they couldn't get it together for you. Once you're no longer together and they get their shit together, it hurts a little bit, right?
Oh, sure.
It's like, you couldn't do this for me.
You did all the work, and some other woman out there is reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
I hear this lament from many girls that are friends of mine, particularly if they share my age, on just that thing. I mean, Douglas first in my prayers, but she's a close second.
Yeah.
When I'm done praying for Douglas to continue having his patience for you, I immediately am like, and also, Lord, I know I've already asked a lot, but please get Khloe laid. Please.
You know, this
forget
is
about
actually,
Ukraine.
It's a good question. How many people in the world do you think pray for Khloe Kardashian?
Are the Kardashians religious? Again, I do not know enough about them to... it's a legit question.
I think they're spiritual.
Okay, gotcha. They're very spiritual people, but they don't believe in organized religion stuff.
I'm not sure.
But they believe that there's a higher power and that we're all connected.
Potentially. So I think there could be prayers involved.
So then that's a big family. So that's a good amount of people praying for.
From all the siblings and cousins and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say there's probably at least 12 people praying for Khloe. On that note, let's just end here.
What a terrible note to end on. I'm so sorry. Well, all right. There might be a couple tickets left. I'm stealing a line from you. Maybe a couple. I'm not doing it as well as you do. But you guys, 3 p.m., go on to BoweryBachBoysWalks.com. Go hit that Turtle Bay tour. That's mine. And 3 p.m. this Wednesday, killing it in Midtown. We're going to have a great time. And if you want to pay me more, I'll show you all the cool bars after the tour. And you can buy me drinks at those bars. Because again, next. Joe, what do you got?
Sure. If you missed the most recent FBI, or I guess it is still the most recent FBI Most Wanted, Douglas appeared on that episode.
Wait, you're both an FBI?
I'm an FBI. He was on FBI Most Wanted.
That's insane.
They are different shows.
That's hilarious.
He is in, I can't remember which episode.
What a great wife.
14 maybe. But he comes in at the end and he plays a bad guy.
I love it.
You should watch.
Can we show a clip of that?
No.
Why not?
Look it up, people. Also, it's not me.
Oh, good point.
But yeah, go ahead, subscribe to our channel, listen to us, download us wherever you get your podcasts.
I also want to hear anyone. No one's going to reply to this. I want to hear someone's thought that's actually seen Snow White.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you saw it,
my brother
what you
will
thought.
probably take my niece to it. So I'll get back to you on this. I'm not watching.
All right. Bye, y'all.
I'm sure glad that's over.
That's all for this episode of Mornin' with Bill and Joanne.
I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts.
Shut up, Bill.
Subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you get podcasts.
Yeah, I wasn't listening either.
Very nice, Joanne. Touché.
For videos of this and other episodes, go to @MorninBillAndJoe on YouTube.
Bill, put the sword down.
Run, Joanne, run!
Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We would do it for you. Okay, that's a lie.
I never liked your show.
Sorry, wasn't listening. See ya.